Hi and welcome to a new video. I'm Wo, mixing engineer. I know it's been a while since my last video, but things have been very busy. A lot of clients, new hardware, new studio, new environment. But today I have 4 EDM mixing tips for you. Now these tips and tricks are all over YouTube, but I feel like really a focus on electronic dance music it's not there. And when people are giving the advice, it's more producers like do this production tip. But this video is if you finish your production, you checked all the videos on YouTube and you want to give that little last shine, that little last polish on your track before you send it out for mastering or you do the mastering yourself. So let's go ahead with the polishing with tip number 1. Bus compression. Bus compression is essential in making everything just pop a little bit more. So let's head into the box and check the drum loop I have here. It sounds good, but we can improve it. Now for the plugin you should use, whatever you are comfortable with, whatever compressor you think will do the job. For me, that's the API 2500. I have a video, link it over here or here, explaining it completely, like really in depth. If that's your thing, go check it out as well after this video, of course. Let's grab the API. So I'm going for 2-3-ish decibel of gain reduction. Let's dial in some nice settings, medium, slow attack, 2 ratio, 1.5 ratio, depends on what the source material wants. I'm gonna unlink the stereo in this plugin just to keep the stereo spread and the width in the drums. That's also a tip in this video, so stay tuned. And let's see what it does. In my opinion, the kick slaps a little bit more and the high end in the kick and the snare and the claps as well is just a bit more present. Because this is a kind of Solomon type drums, which are kind of dark. And while we want them dark, we also do want their presence. Let's check it with the instruments. It just cuts through the mix that bit more. Moving on to tip number 2, width and space. In a professional mix master, everything sounds wide open and has its own place. Whereas yours might sound comparable in terms of EQ and punch and everything else, there's still just that one bit that it just sounds a bit muddy and not as lush as the professional one. What often happens is that you stack your drums on top of each other in sense of stereo width. Effectively meaning you stack and cramp all your elements in a smaller space than the track you compare it to. We can head back into the box and visually see what I mean. I have an ozone imager here which has a great visual representation, and I take the 3rd metering option, and when I play the drums, you can see everything is just in a straight line, almost a dead center line. And this is what I mean by stacking the drums on top of each other instead of spreading them out. We could address this by doing something like this, boosting the sides in the high and clamping down on the lows in the mid channel. The second thing you could do to create more width and space is to shift elements in time, creating more time space. Very fancy. What I mean by that is also again stacking your drums on top of each other, like in a literal sense. I have a kick, a top kick, a clap and another clap. There's 4 elements at the same time. If you check the transient, there's a very sharp transient here for the kick and here. The claps are a little bit less defined because of the samples I chose, but you can see I shifted this transient here a little bit to the right from the kick. This is really on top of each other. And this is shifting it just one bit, creating more space for the initial transient of the kick and then the clap. If you do this to multiple elements, spread them out, just shifting the transient so that everything has space to breathe, guaranteed success. Continuing along to mixing tip number 3. You are working, let's say, on a vocal and the balancing seems to be very challenging. So you grab your EQ, you grab your compressor, but still you're 95, 99% there. But that 1% is really annoying you. It's just this one word or these few words in the whole mix that are just not popping up. And everything you do, every change you make will make it sound better here, but worse there. Instead of continuing this horrible path of putting plugin after plugin and just stressing for hours, take a step back and fix it manually. I was just talking about transients. In this case, it's also true for that. Let's say I have a clap and I just don't like the transient. I could shave it off with a compressor. I could also make an automation clip for the volume and just remove it by hand. This simple. And now your compressor will react perfect the way you wanted it every single time. This brings us to the final tip, number 4, on topic of taking the easy route. You're stacking plugin after plugin after plugin and it's just not working. Take a step back. Because in my experience, when I'm stacking plugins, there is a problem. And you don't fix problems at the end, you fix problems at the root, at the audio, at the sample, at the source material. It maybe sounds really basic or stupid, but we all know when you're just working and focused and you're doing so well, you might lose track of the bigger picture. And that is maybe the secret 5th tip. Just stay critical and take a step back when it's challenging and just take your time. It needs to be fun and you are here for the results, not for how many plugins you can stack. And that is, for today, it. Thank you for watching. If you like this content and you want to go more in depth in other plugins, let's say the API 2500 or the NS EQ2 brilliant master EQ, I will link it all down below. I have a very nice playlist going in depth in many plugins. Also, I said I have new hardware. I have an SSL Fusion and it's beautiful. I've been using it quite a lot for clients and I was thinking about making a video this week, but I don't know really how to present it, so I keep working on it to give you the best view of the unit you can get. I'm stoked, you are hyped, and I will see you next week.